Some exchange betting companies run short-lived promotions, like months-long offers of low commission. At BetDAG, we wanted to change the way we did things, so we set our commission at 2% permanently. That's 2% on football, horse racing, golf, almost any sport. 2%. That's just one way that BetDAG is changing for the better. For the better, like you. BetDAG, the 2% commission exchange.
Over 18s only, please gamble responsibly.
Been an astonishing shootout of penalty failures. Manchester United cannot afford another one. And they've got one, and Sunderland go to Wembley. Saved by Mannone. It is sensational for Sunderland and Gus Poyet. Another disaster for David Moyes and his Manchester United.
Hello and welcome to a very special episode of the ROKER RAPPORT podcast. Today we've got a cult hero who played for the lads between the years of 2013 and 2017, part of countless great escapes and a famous penalty save at Old Trafford. Joining us all the way from Minnesota is Vito Mannone. How are you doing, Vito? Are you well?
Hello, yes, I'm fine.
How is life in America?
Yeah, great so far. A good experience, and I'm enjoying every minute of it.
How does it compare to Sunderland?
Yeah, it's two different worlds. I can't really compare. It's difficult to compare. Sunderland is a unique experience on its own. So
you can say that again. Yeah, definitely. So we've got a few questions for you. We've got a lot to run through, but I want to start with a nice easy one, lull you into a false sense of security. You played at Sunderland for 3 seasons approximately. You played with some fantastic players. You played with quite a few defenders as well. But who was the best player that you played alongside at Sunderland, and why?
Yeah, it's been a few, to be honest. But it's difficult to say. We got great veterans in the team. We had John O'Shea, Wes Brown, people who won a lot, and you got good fighters like Lee Cattermole, and probably one of the best strikers I play with is Jermaine Defoe. So let's go for Jermaine. One of my good friends, and I think Jermaine has been one of the best strikers in the Prem, and while I was there, I could understand why, and I could understand why he's been so prolific in front of goal.
Now, I want to rewind back to when you first joined the club. In hindsight, it was a little bit of a weird time to be a Sunderland fan. You had DeFanti and Di Canio were kind of the head of the recruitment. How did the Sunderland move come about, and what convinced you to make the move to Sunderland?
Oh, it was a moment where my path and Sunderland path, we kind of meet in the middle, where I was needed in game time, and I was needing to, have a good go at the Premier League. I played a few games with Arsenal, and I was always trying to make my mark, at Arsenal, but I didn't have the chance to do so as much as I wanted to. And Sunderland needed a goalkeeper after losing Simon Mignolet, which he was Player of the Year, and we all know the story. For me to go there and kind of replace him, it was a very good challenge, and that's why I decided to jump on board and try to do my best and trying to replicate what Simon did in the past, and thankfully I managed it.
What was your first impressions of Paolo Di Canio when you first met him? Not your first coaching session, just when he met you and said he wanted to sign you. What was your impressions of him?
It was a strange one. Everything is strange with him. He was the man who really wanted to win, and would do anything to win. Sometimes I think his behaviors were a little bit, overboard, over the line, and but I can say he was a good coach and a straightforward person and somebody who's done it in the past as a player who wanted to do as much as a coach. That's the feeling I had.
I've been told by sort of numerous different players from that era that pre-season, the training in that pre-season was the most difficult, most draining that any manager's ever done. How was that pre-season?
The hardest of my life. So it was a very interesting one because everybody was running, including goalkeepers. Us goalkeeping, a goalkeeper sometimes avoid the runs and manage to avoid the runs. But that year I ran all the way. So it was a very interesting pre-season. Sometimes we woke up at 6:30 in the morning, and before breakfast we had the first session, gym session, running session. And then the second session would come along after 2 hours, and then another session in the afternoon. And that was probably the most draining pre-season I had, as 3 sessions a day, most of the times, a lot of games in the heat, 30 degrees in Italy. And I'm Italian, and that wasn't one of the best places to be in Italy. So I can tell you that for sure, but it's been good for fitness and everything, to be honest.
Did you miss tomato sauce though?
Not really. We had a strict diet imposed by him, and we had to eat pasta every day, carbs, so we could run even more.
He liked his running. Every player said that, and you said it as well. I don't think anyone had ran as much as they have in their life until they met Paolo. But
certain players are, I won't say names, but they didn't like running that much, and they couldn't finish the running. And I tell you what, until you didn't finish the runs, despite the league was starting, you couldn't be training with the team. So that's how strict it was. You had to finish all the runs to be training with the team.
Now, you didn't get along with him as a head coach. Obviously, he brought you in the summer, but I think he lasted 6 games. He had his ways, I think many people know about. Did you have a good personal relationship with him? I know that certain players, for example, Phil Bosley, did not. But how was your personal relationship with him?
I started well, and I thought it was going to be okay, but I had my problems too, where basically that year I was number 1 throughout the preseason. I played all the friendlies and it was okay, but he's got his opinions. He thinks he can read you mentally. And a day or 2 before the beginning of the season, I was gonna start the first game, and he called me in the office and he said, "You're not gonna play because you don't smile enough." And I said, "This is not possible." He said, "Yeah, you're very angry in training. You don't want to lose games." And I thought it was a good thing because I didn't want to lose any training games, and I was very challenging every time. So nothing. He took it that way.
Yeah, he liked smiling a lot, so I've been told.
Yeah, very strange. Me, I'm very serious during. I'm a positive guy. I'm always smiling, but when I'm down to work, I think you know, if you saw many Sunderland games, you could see me. My face changed, my game face changed, and I'm very focused on the job, and I become a sort of animal. That's I completely changed.
Yeah.
I completely changed my attitude, but nothing. He took it that way, and since then we kind of fall out. And as I said, he had these problems with other players, as you said. He was a good coach, but again, I don't know. It's how can I say? It's managerial, man-to-man managerial skills. I'm not sure.
And I think that came to pass with his sacking, of course, or the relieving of his duties. Now, I don't think you played for him in the league games. I think he preferred Kieran Westwood for the first 6 league games. When he left, there was a lot of rumours of sort of a players' revolt, I think is the way that people put it. But what actually happened in the aftermath of that West Brom game, to your memory?
nothing is. The next morning at 7 o'clock, we were at training ground. That's what happened. And we had this sort of meeting, and obviously, it's, I can't go into details of the meeting. I can only say, it hasn't been an easy one, and I think the club decided to go that way and to have a quick change and a quick reaction from the team, and I think that worked out because that season we did well after.
Yeah, of course. And I think, as it was, Gus Poyet came in shortly after the start of the season. 2 games into that Gus Poyet era, Kieran Westwood gets injured. You get your chance as well. But I think everything for every player and every fan changed with Gus Poyet. What is it that he changed around the dressing room to improve the atmosphere so much?
Yeah, it was a very positive manager who came in and kind of changed the mood, and he demanded a reaction from us, and certain rules were lifted off after some, as you said before, the preseason was really hard, and then we went into the first 5-6 games, and Di Canio had his own rules. He was very strict inside the training ground, and sometimes he works with certain players, and sometimes he doesn't. And for us, it didn't work, and we needed a man like Gus to come in and change this kind of environment. And especially when you lose games, you need a kind of reaction. And then I think slowly we've changed our game style, and we changed our way of training, and slowly we build up our season. We started to get points, get the confidence back, and that's usually what it works with the change of management. Personally, as well, it was somebody who finally came in, and he didn't have any smiling problems or anything like that. And he just showed he just wanted to see my quality in training, and finally I could push for a chance, and when I got my chance, I never came out.
I think with Gus as well, as you said, we started picking up points. Newcastle was one game, but also Manchester City, which I think was your home debut. But there was a few games where it didn't click. It didn't click as well as it did later on in the season. I think we struggled a little bit. It was like a win, a lose, a draw, a defeat. But I remember really vividly, you had an absolutely outstanding game down at Goodison Park on Boxing Day.
Yeah,
we beat Everton 1-0. And things seemed to change from there on. And did things change in the dressing room for you? And personally, did the team just suddenly think they could get out of this?
Yeah, it was a massive game. It was, as you say, probably was one of the moments where we turned the corner. As you said, in the first few months with Gus, we tried to learn his way to play from the back, and probably we didn't have every player fit, and we had some problems. We didn't find the right balance, and again we gained some value points, as you say, against City or against certain teams, but then we kind of lost our way, trying to mold into his game, and it wasn't easy. He always needed time. We knew that after a difficult start, we needed time to get used to his game style, and after you confidence, then you get the points. But that game I remember very well. We lost a few players in defense, especially. We went to play with players who made their debut, basically, Diakite and Robert, and it was a few of the boys who didn't play for a long time, and it was difficult to go at Goodison Park. We all knew that it was going to be a difficult game, and thankfully I could help the team with some important saves, and again coming out of the game, with a clean sheet and a massive shock. It was a shock win at Goodison Park, and that gave us the boost to go on and say, okay, we can beat anyone in the league if we want to.
I think that was the game where the Vito Mannone chant started as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, probably yes. Yeah,
Yeah.
It was unbelievable. We always had our traveling fans in full pack, and it was the moment where I heard my chant, and after the full time whistle, I went over to them, and it was a great moment because I really wanted this type of game, and I really wanted to put my stamp at Sunderland, and that was probably one of the first moments when I did it.
I was thinking of players that have had a connection with fans quite quickly, and you're definitely one of them, especially from sort of the past, maybe say 10 years. Why did you feel the fans and yourself had such a quick connection?
I don't know. I think in general I'm a hardworking guy. I really put everything into football. Football is my life, and I think it's sort of the fans saw that. I think the Sunderland fans are probably the best in the country because of that. Because is an hard-working class who love football, love Sunderland Football Club to the death, and they they work all week hard to go to the stadium, and that kind of bond with my philosophy in life. I always gave 100%, and that's all they wanted to see, and I think that's where the bond with the fans came. I really wanted to do well for myself and for the club and for these special fans who traveled everywhere in England, and they gave us goosebumps every time, and they gave us full stadiums and great at home and as much as away, and that's why I had love for them, and I think they gave me love back.
I have a feeling as well, I was going to come on to it, we're talking about pivotal moments. Now, we mentioned Everton, but around the same time, there was a little cup run that started, actually. Mm-hmm. And perhaps the most famous Vito Mannone moment in your Sunderland career. What are your memories of that semi-final at Old Trafford?
Well, it's probably one of the best nights I ever had. It's
mine too.
yeah, I know. I got a lot of Sunderland fans who still remember like yesterday, and they still write to me, and it's I'm grateful of that, and that's the kind of nights you work for all your life. I started when I was a young boy, 5 or 6. I've done many sacrifices, and my parents, did many sacrifices with me. My family, my wife, always supported me to have a good career and to have these special nights. Who sometimes you don't expect them, but they come along, and you just need to kind of embrace them, and take your opportunity to show your talents, and make a big difference in such a special game for the club and for us, because it was a semi-final. It was at Old Trafford. Again, it seems like I realized one of my dreams, playing at Old Trafford, one of the best stadiums. When I was a kid, I watched a lot of games there. Man United, one of the best teams to play against. And then a semi-final, I think it was 28 years or 22 years. Sunderland didn't have a final or something at the time.
It was a while.
Yeah, it was a long time, and such a big club like Sunderland deserved a night like that, and deserved to go to Wembley for a cup final. And the away fans, the away hands at Old Trafford, I cannot forget the sound, the noise, and especially, as you said, my chant was going on after the penalty saves. It was something special, and I have it in my heart, and I keep it really tight.
That chant didn't just go on after the final whistle. That chant went on till about 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning in Manchester City Centre.
Yeah, I know. And it went on the Wembley weekend as well.
Yep.
No, it was special. As I said, as a player, you can't forget something like that, because it's, as I said, you work hard, fight hard, and that is the moment that you fulfill your dreams. And as I said, it was a special way to go to the final, and that's something that sticks with you in with your family and with you. And obviously, I think it stick with the Sunderland fans. Every Sunderland fans who was there they always remember that night, because it was a special night, and it was the springboard to go to Wembley. So it was great.
One thing that I remember quite a lot from that game itself, I'm speaking from a fan's perspective, but I'm interested in a goalkeeper's perspective. So Phil Bardsley scores, and you think, that's it, we're going to Wembley, brilliant. And I ended up 6 rows in front, everyone's going crazy, and thought, that's it. And by the time we kind of stopped celebrating, we lifted our heads up, and Hernandez has scored. Now, the interesting thing for me is, from a goalkeeper's perspective, you think Bardsley scores, you must think brilliant, you feel the same as us maybe. But then all of a sudden, you have to be the hero, and you're thrown into this penalty shootout. How do you prepare for that mentally when it happens so fast?
I'm completely honest with you. I think that night I kind of had the feeling before even the game started that I could be important for my team. It's strange enough that I'm saying, I can't predict things, but for the season I was having, and the season, the cup run that I was having, I played well against Chelsea in the quarterfinal as well. It was a tough game, extra time. I felt like it was going to be. So that's why I didn't get so excited. This game was crazy enough as well. During the 90 minutes, it was crazy. It was few chances for them, and we kept them up there. And I think as well, that goal gave us a fake feeling of we almost there. But I felt like it was the challenge was still there. And as you say, they came straight away at us, and they scored straight away. But then I think they had one more chance as well to score another one on a penalty. On a free kick at the edge of the box, and I made another save before the extra time. So it was like a very tense game. Obviously not good for the fans because the nerves were going up and down. But when the extra time came along, I thought, this is the chance. I knew it could go to penalties, and I said, this is the chance to make my mark and try to help this team, this club, these fans to have a great night. And that's how it went, really.
Talking about sort of tough nights and games where you've had to make lots of saves, shortly after that Old Trafford semi-final, you had maybe one of the easiest games of your life when we went to St James's Park. Why did we perform so well that day? It was so easy. How was your first derby, considering it was so easy to beat them that day?
Everything clicked. I think everything clicked from that moment. The confidence was so high. We knew how to play. We were the team we were supposed to be, and what the manager wanted. I mean, every single one was performing probably at the best. And I felt like, going to St. James's as well was fantastic. You kind of get in the tiger's cage, you kind of get in a place where you're facing your opponents, you're facing the enemy, and you're facing probably who wants you to lose the most. So, and it was for us as well, to go there and win and impose our game style. I thought it was great. And when you kind of have your back on the wall, that's where the best wins come, and that was the case. I think we really wanted to win, but we wanted to win in that way, in that certain way. So to win 3-0 away, as you said, it looked easy, but it wasn't easy because you got almost 50,000 against you. So Yeah,
Something like that.
and you got the away fans, the Sunderland fans were on top of that, on top of that place in the stadium, really high, and you can't even see them nearly. And every time we scored, Fabio went on the hoardings and to be a little bit closer to you guys, and it was fantastic, So it was a great game again. It was a great moment in the year, and probably one of the moments of the special miracle here.
It felt like, and you mentioned it before about the perfect way that Gus Poyet wanted to play. It just felt like that game was Gus Poyet's dream.
Yeah, everything clicked. As I said, everything clicked from the back. Very solid at the back. We kept playing, the passing game. We kept moving, and the midfielders were solid. We keep finding spaces, and especially up front, as I said, everything clicked. Everyone was on fire that day, and to be honest, we had some slick moves as well to score our goals. The third one, especially when Jack Colback, which we know that after he went to Newcastle, and
Don't swear.
the celebration by him, it was crazy, but that's how it went. I think that is the most imposing games the Sunderland team, probably imposing win, if I can say. Despite I know Di Canio won 3-0 the year before, but nobody outplayed Newcastle in their own turf like we did that year, I think.
And we really did. I totally agree with you on that. Shortly afterwards was the real big game, which was Wembley. And I suppose I spoke to Seb Larson about this, and the day was amazing, and there's so many positives you can take from that day. So yeah. I kind of want to speak first and foremost about the positives of that. But what are your memories of Wembley, like the fans coming out of the stadium?
Unbelievable memories. The whole trip down to London, the way you get closer to the stadium, you try to focus to get in without emotions, but you can't hold it really. It was a sea of red and white colors all over the streets, and we knew everyone from Sunderland was coming down to see this game, and to have a kind of dream. We really wanted to win this cup, especially for the run we had, and after Old Trafford, after the quarterfinal against Chelsea, it wasn't easy. It was a long time the club didn't win anything and haven't been in the final. So the approach to the game was amazing. The time I went out for warm-up, I never had, this kind of goosebumps before. Despite I played some big games for Arsenal in the Champions League, in my career, it's been some nice moments too. But I think, as I said, this one to look at all the Sunderland supporters singing my name in the warm-up, it's a great memory to have, and something I can show hopefully my kids in the future, and be proud of it. It
really was a fabulous day, and as a fan as well, it's a great memory to look back on, and I can only imagine, on the pitch, how amazing that was too. I think we all felt it. But when I was talking to Seb Larson about the same situation, and I know it affected you, because I remember you were like the closest to the fans at the end of the game. Yeah. How hard was it to take the defeat after not just losing in the final, but we played really well? We were beaten by a wonder goal.
It was so painful, so painful. I can't describe it because it's probably one of the most painful one in my career. We were so close to a miracle. We were so close to a cup, and as you say, we dominated the game for 60, 70 minutes against Manchester City, one of the best sides in Europe, and never mind in England. So we were the underdogs, but we played with heart, and we played with an intention to win that cup, but we really wanted it. So I thought we did magnificent on the day. Forget the result, forget that we lost, but as I said, it was painful. We held up our heads very high, I think, despite the result. And nothing. I thought it was going to be, as I said before, I thought it was going to be for the cup run we had, and for the fans and for everything. We deserve that special moment. We deserve the cup, but we've been beaten by some magic finishing and some top class players in football. You can only you react to the game, and unfortunately it was two special moments from them that changed the game. But I have to say that on the day we were better than Man City, despite them coming out with a win.
Do you think that it was a shot or a cross?
No, unfortunately it was a shot. I never know how in his head he thought about shooting.
It was incredible, just horrible to watch.
I watched it and watched it again. I think if I'm standing in the top corner, it's even harder to save it because he went in exactly like that, and he went in from the ball kind of deep from 3 meters down. I mean, that ball was swerving all the way in the top corner, and sometimes you have to raise your hands and say, "Well done." And this is a type of goals you can only say, "Well done to the." To the opponent. So we know Yaya Touré's got this in his locker. He scored other goals like that, and unfortunately decided to do after a very difficult game from his team.
I think
that was the moment he changed the game. That was the moment
so.
where they needed some lift because they couldn't get past us, and we were so solid, and we were counter-attacking them as well. We had other chances before that, I remember.
Fabio, the second one.
Fabio, Steven Fletcher as well. He was close one time, if I remember.
Oh, Fletcher. Yeah, I remember at the end. Yeah.
So it was, as I said, we didn't capitalize on them, and they only needed something like that to change the game. And unfortunately, that goal hit us very hard because after that, straight away, the dream kind of went away from us, after that goal, because we said if we can't win today, then we cannot win any other day. We play so well, and this goal goes in. I mean, what can we do? But as I said, I want to remember the positives. I want to remember, I really want to lift that cup for Sunderland, but I kind of did in a certain way. We did anyway, and that's why it's been so good. And I thought we had to be proud ourselves, players and the fans too, because we kind of I know we didn't lift it. It didn't materialize to lift the cup, but at the end of the day, for the cup run we had, and as you said before, magic night at Old Trafford, a special day out at Wembley. That was like a win for us. I know we lost, but it was like a win.
For me personally, the Old Trafford game, the Bardsley goal, is to the best memory of supporting Sunderland, and many fans are saying there were phenomenal moments, and sometimes you have to remind yourself that you didn't actually win anything because it was such a good run.
Yeah. He's always in my stomach. Don't remind me anymore, because I would really go back right now, and try try even harder, and try my best even harder to win it. But it is what it is. It's football. It's a learning curve, and moments like this, you learn from it.
And the thing is, you go to Wembley, you have that kind of season, and you think, surely the crazy games are over. Yeah. And then our form dipped a little bit. Yeah. And then we played Manchester City away.
If I can say, it was normal. Yeah. It was gonna be normal. I've been affected, I'm honest, as a player. I've been affected by losing that cup because, as I said, it was heartbreaking. And it felt like the whole team needed a month to react after that. We couldn't play anymore like before. We couldn't react again like before. As I said, we were so close to touching the sky, and we didn't.
But there was a moment when, on that run where, like you say, it took us a month to get it out of our system, and we almost didn't have that month because we went 7 points adrift, I think it was. And then we played Manchester City away.
Yeah.
And we're talking about the same Manchester City that brought out magic at the cup final to win it. And we absolutely battered them on their own ground.
Yeah.
And it was out of nowhere that happened. But the big thing I remember from that, when we're talking of Vito Mannone, is the second goal. And I remember everyone supported you after that because you'd had such a good season. Everyone makes that mistake. But in the grand scheme of things, you came back from that. The whole team came back from that disappointment of the second goal to create a miraculous recovery, really. And we called it the Great Escape. And I still stand by that was the greatest escape from relegation in Premier League history. But what did you do following that game to refocus from that mistake and move on from it, to have the end to the season that yourself and the team did?
That was a moment where, as I said, it was a learning curve. It was a learning curve to lose the final, and we needed to react. We didn't react it until that night, probably. And again, as you say, we went to City and battered them, and unfortunately, mistakes happen. It happened to me. It was the last minute, a strong shot. I should have put my hands in a different way. And unfortunately, I was following the ball all the way to the line and trying to recover, and I didn't. And straight after, I thought that the team really helped me out. The manager really helped me out because we had a massive game on Tuesday, and which was Chelsea away. So basically, 7 points adrift. We nearly did it again. We nearly beat Man City on their own turf, and it didn't happen. So the process is not time to dwell. If you want to show who you are, you showed it all season. I was having a great season that year. I felt unbeatable at times, and I just needed to do it one more time for myself, for my family, for the club, and I needed to react straight away. If you want to show that you are a good goalkeeper in the Prem, I think mistakes happens to everyone. It happens to De Gea in the semi-final. It happens to Petr Cech. It happens to many great goalkeepers. I can name a lot of them. But the best thing about a goalie is the next game. It's not the game where you make a mistake. It's the game after. If you dwell on it and you feel sorry for yourself, then I would not only destroy myself, but destroy the team effort to do a miracle. So I think that's why I had, again, one of the best games at Chelsea. I think I made the record of the Premier League saves at Chelsea. It was 14 saves in one game, and I really wanted to react, and I really wanted to get safe and be, despite not winning the cup, for us, it was going to be, that was our next cup, winning a miracle, relegation battle. And we did. And I think the team reacted. The team really helped me. And they were supporting me. And that was great to see. And it brought the team together in a kind of way. So the group really got tight, and we said, okay, we're going to go to Chelsea. Never mind this Chelsea, never mind this Stamford Bridge, never mind this, one of the best sides in the league. Mourinho not losing for 76 games, I think, in a row.
It was 99.
Oh, no, even worse.
99.
So, 99 games. So why not? We said, why not make history again? And,
why not Sunderland?
Yeah, why not Sunderland? And that game was the game. It changed everything.
With the season and things like that, you spoke of character, and I think, unfortunately, when things have gone the way that things have gone with Sunderland, perhaps since you've left, sometimes fingers can be pointed at players who've been at the club for a long time, such as John O'Shea and maybe Lee Cattermole. And there's sometimes a perception that maybe they have not caused problems, but they are a core of players that have been with us through a lot of negative times. But how important, you're talking of team spirit, the likes of Lee Cattermole and John O'Shea, when you have a moment like you did at Manchester City, how important are those players?
Yeah, the frustration is understandable when you have negative times. Such passionate fans like Sunderland fans, he hits you, But you don't have to forget that it's the players first who are on the pitch to do their best and try to avoid these negative times, and they want to be successful. They want to be successful for the club and for the fans. So I can talk for myself, and I can talk for people like Lee, for example, who for me is a great example. I can talk for people like John O'Shea, who I know very well, and they are leaders, and they always lead every player in the dressing room to do their best for themselves and for the club. So the frustration is understandable, but again, they've been great players and great servants for the club, I think.
Yeah, I would agree.
It's not always easy when you are in those moments. You got everything against you. You got your own fans against you, and you try to react, and you try to, as I said, to save the club in difficult moments. At times, if you want me to be honest, completely, many mistakes have been made behind the curtains, and the club did many mistakes, and the players never let the fans down for attitude and fighting, and I don't think they did. Players like Lee and players like John, and many others. We wanted to be successful. That's all, and we kind of lived with the mistakes that were made in the club, in the board, or whatever happened. So many things happen. So, but when we were stepping on the field, we try our best, I think.
In typical Sunderland fashion, we beat Man United, Chelsea, we go to Wembley. We have one of those outstanding seasons, end of the season, sorry. And then it comes to the new season, everything's feeling positive, everything at the club going into the new season is brilliant. But like it seemed to happen every season, things went sour very, very fast. And I remember in particular, you had a really difficult few weeks. I think we played a few games, we drew a few games, we didn't play so well, but we weren't losing too many games. And then we lost 8-0 at Southampton, and we lost 2-0 against Arsenal. And I think you got a lot of the blame for some of the goals. And shortly afterwards, Gus Poyet dropped you and played Costello Pantelimon. But did Gus speak to you following those games and explain his decision? Was he a good manager like that?
No, the problems were, unfortunately, with the club, with Sunderland, with the board. The problems were at the beginning of the season. It was not the moment of the Southampton game, or it was not the moment where I've been dropped. Unfortunately, it's been before. People don't know. It's many years later. I can talk now. I'm not at the club anymore, and they're here. As you say, the player of the season here. I played my heart out, and I expected a different treatment from the club, and that never happened. So they promised me many things, but what they did, they changed director of sport, and the director of sport was coming for me from day one. So I kind of knew that was going to happen.
And this is Lee Congerton discussion?
Yeah. My contract was nearly finishing. They took an option. They used the option as every club would do, but they didn't offer me any new contract. They promised me the contract from the March before the miracle season, and it didn't happen. It didn't happen, and as a player, I was kind of hit, because I really played my heart, and I really played for the club. And that summer, I received a phone call from him, and he told me he was going to bring another goalkeeper in, that he was going to challenge me. And Gus tried to stop me because many clubs wanted me. I had a good season. I could go in other Premier League clubs. I could go to Serie A clubs, Champions League and things like that. And I said, you know what? I love these fans. I love this club. I got to prove again this season. I'm the number one. I want to be here, and I want to fight against this. So my heart decided for me. If it was my brain, I probably was going to leave for the treatment I had, because this guy came in and absolutely came against me. despite the season I had, and he didn't want me there, and he wanted another goalkeeper. So I couldn't believe that could happen, but that's what happened. So I'm completely honest. I can tell you the story now. I started the season in a wrong way mentally. That's what happens when you're not right mentally. Then you're not playing at your best again, and everything happened so quickly. And Gus convinced me to stay as well. But again, he had to make some choice because some certain players have been brought in by Lee Congerton, and Gus had to play them. So that's the reality of football.
With Gus, did he throughout this situation with Lee Congerton? Was Gus very much not for Lee Congerton's decision to kind of try and move you on? I'm guessing he fought against that because you don't speak with any frustration towards Gus Poyet.
No. He was a manager who really liked me and really loved me for what we went through. You know, you bond with certain relationship once you do this kind of seasons like the 2013, 2014. I mean, I think everyone had a good relationship with him. He was great when he came in. He was great. He achieved something that nobody else achieved, I think, at the club. So you have to respect him. And unfortunately, it didn't work out the way the club decided to go for another director of sports. They had different ideas. He wanted certain players, and he didn't get them. Somebody else was deciding on the players, and that's what happens. Again, I said it before. Many mistakes have been made, and we kind of paid it on the field. So we put our faces on the field to pay the price. But
that was kind of around the era when we were linked to sort of Virgil van Dijk, and we signed Sebastian Coates instead, and obviously when Jack Rodwell came in as well. So I think it would be fair to say if you asked Sunderland fans if they preferred Vito Mannone or Lee Congerton, you would win. So
no,
I think it was good.
You know, nothing against him. Everyone has got his own opinions, and probably he thought he was working well for the club. But I never understand why a club like Sunderland, after a season like that, cannot not push and be in the top 10 of the Premier League with such a talented team. I mean, we lost players who were not signed for 4 or 5 million. Players like Marcos Alonso, who we all know now where he is. He's been sold for 28 million to Chelsea. So something went wrong. You know what I mean? It's we didn't keep the core. We didn't keep the core of that team. We tried to add people in, and we kind of changed the game style that Gus had. Still, you know, he put us in that season, and then we paid the price. As I said, another manager, another change, and all of a sudden you're facing a mountain to climb again. And we didn't build on our good moments. That's what I thought. And unfortunately, this has been the story for 3-4 years when I was there.
Yeah, no, completely. It was always false stones. With Poyet, and you may disagree with me here because obviously you have a little bit more inside knowledge, and you've just mentioned about Congerton and the changes and the signings. But a big difference following the 8-0, Poyet seemed to maybe panic a little and worry that we weren't defensively good enough, and we became very, very defensive when previously we were quite an attacking team. Do you think the 8-0 defeat at Southampton changed the way Gus Poyet wanted to play, or do you think simply the players that were signed by Lee Congerton that summer did not fit into the style of play Gus Poyet wanted, and it just unraveled?
Yeah, it's just when things don't go well, it's a mix of things. You can't point a finger to the players, to the manager, to the board. It's a mix of things. I think it didn't work out that year, and we didn't play like before, and it was difficult. It was I think Gus always felt the misconnection with the club. Having a director of sport, we didn't have his own ideas, and it's been difficult from day one when we were in Portugal in pre-season. I still remember. Certain players didn't come in, the players we wanted. Again, other players came in, and you kind of facing things in the Premier League. Nobody waits for you, and we didn't have that time like in the previous year to react and to get positive results straight away. So it's been difficult, and it's been difficult moments. And but as I said, to have a big problem, you need to have many mistakes along the way, and that's what happened, I think.
You didn't play under him very much, and he wasn't here very long, but we did have another great escape at the end of that season. How was your relationship with Dick Advocaat?
A strange one again. Strange one. He was not like Gus. Gus came in, and I think he chose the players by the training. He chose the players who were performing well in training and in games. Dick kind of went. He had no time because it was towards the end of the season, I think, and he kind of went with whoever is getting the results is in. That's it. So we were a bit lucky, I think, this year. I'm completely honest. We grinded some results, especially towards the end. I remember 2 penalties against Southampton, for example, at home. We went to Everton and we won by a on goal. We grind a draw at Arsenal, and it didn't feel like the previous year where we had to do so much to get safe. You know what I mean? Again, is respect for the job that Dick did. I think he gave a lot of character to the team, and he gave this tough mentality to grind the results and grind the points where we needed, and I think we did at the end.
That period between maybe the Southampton game and Dick Advocaat sort of leaving was for you personally one where you played second fiddle to Costel Pantilimon, but when Sam Allardyce came in, things really changed, because not only did you overtake Pantilimon, he actually sold Pantilimon. So, personally, what changed for you when Sam Allardyce came in, and how did you find him as a man and as a manager?
Well, again, basically, I don't want to, I always work hard and I always try to show myself in training, and I did for that long here. When Lee Congerton came, obviously Lee Congerton decided he had a word for the next manager, and he decided for Dick Advocaat. So it was obvious that I was not going to have a chance under Advocaat because of Lee Congerton, who never wanted me there in the first place. It's as easy as that, and that's why I say it's not down to my training or my performance. The fans don't know. The fans don't know what's happening on daily basis, and that was what happened. So I never had a chance, despite training well with Dick, and things didn't go well again. We changed the manager again, and Big Sam came in, and he's another manager like Poyet, who decided to put the best performance, and he told me to train hard and to show my talent, and that's what I did before I was getting my chance again. I was waiting and waiting. Despite that, I didn't decide to leave the club because I kind of have the good memories of the first year, and I wanted to replicate them again. And after, I remember he gave me the chance again, and once somebody gives me confidence, I can go on the pitch and try to be my best again, and that's what happened. We had a great end of the year, the season, and possibly replicate some good moments like like in 2013, I think.
It's funny you mentioned the word confidence. there's a few people I've spoken to who played under Big Sam, and Sam seemed to be very, very good at making everyone feel great about themselves, you know? And I really noticed a difference in you with your confidence when you came back into the team under Sam Allardyce. How good is Sam Allardyce at making you feel the best that you can be?
It's great. Listen, sometimes you need this kind of managers. I think, especially for myself, it's a game where you put yourself out and you try to be your best. And having somebody who tells you you are good and comes in and sees your talent and is really focusing on man management and is really focusing on getting you back to your best. That's what happened with Big Sam. He came in, and the first day he brought me into the office and he said, "Okay, show me what you got." And that's what I did. And after that, he was praising me for what I've done. And he probably done that with every member of the team, and especially with the team, we improved mentally so much under him. And I think you could tell that after January or February, I think we had such a great run towards the end of the season, and we escaped again relegation. We were one of the best teams in form, and we didn't lose in 11 or 12 games, if I remember well.
Yeah, it was. I think we lost 3 in 15, and a lot of that team stayed together. It was a team that picked itself. You had Kirchhoff, you had Kazri, you had Kone and Kabul at the back. One thing I really wanted to ask you about Yunus and Lamine, that central back partnership seemed to be one of the best that we've had in the Premier League years towards the end. You've played in front of behind quite a few central defenders. How good was Lamine and Yunus, and why do you think that worked so well?
When you have a kind of manager like that, in certain games we clicked. Everything clicked for us. I thought Sam found the best 11, and we were on top of our form, and I think it was fantastic to play. It was an enjoyment in a kind of way. So Yunus and Lamine, two absolute beasts, which
absolutely, especially Yunus.
Yeah, two machines, great defenders, on top of a form, confident. I think they kind of how can I say, they match each other, in one was quick, one was good header. Lamine was strong, strength was incredible. He was quick, he was recovering at times certain balls where Yunus couldn't make, and then Yunus was there. His game reading was there. It was his experience, his leadership. It was fantastic, to have them in front, and I felt great. And I think he only helped any of us. He helped me performing better, and then I was helping them to perform better. And the team, it just clicked, as you say. Jan Kirchhoff, he was Wabi, he was very creative for us. Wingers who were dangerous, and, up top you had a machine goal like Jermaine, and everything was fantastic. That team was incredible. I think it was another team who I remember really well. As I said, towards the end of the season, we were great. We were a great team who could fight for the top 10, possibly in the Prem. I don't think I'm wrong in saying that. Jan Villa, another fantastic player.
Oh, Jan. I miss Jan.
Me why we never signed him again.
Why?
So it's, again, great moments, positive, fantastic, but it's a bit of bitterness in my mouth because we could spring into something beautiful from that time.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it didn't happen again. And I think all these moments, if I'm honest, I'm a Sunderland fan still, so it's still painful, It's still painful for me because I was, one of the main guys there. And to see the club where he is now is painful even more because we didn't personally, but the club wasted many opportunities to build something great and to build a great team in the Premier League. We wouldn't been there without many mistakes, if I'm honest.
You were someone who had been at the club sort of a little while at that point. Sunderland can be a little bit like a revolving door, but you had been there for a fair while. You touched on it before about Jan and Villa, but also Younes was allowed to go.
Oh yeah,
pretty much for no reason.
I never know why.
Yeah, with Jan. It was it someone that you were close to? Was it someone that wanted to come back? And did you ever find out the reason why he didn't come back?
He would, like anybody else, love to come back. Anybody who, as I said, anybody who lived in Sunderland and played for the club, and with such great fans and did magic moments like we did, certain relegation battles, certain wins, it just inspired you to stay there and become somebody important for the club. And I thought it was the same for myself, for other players, for Marcos Alonso, for Jan and Villa, for other players who've been there. They can tell you exactly the same thing. If I go and ask now, Jermaine Defoe, players like players who've been important for the club. Younes, for example, he was in tears the day we got safe, and the day he's been let go so easily. I still remember the day at the training ground. He couldn't believe in himself. So unfortunately, that's what happened, and unfortunately, decision. We kind of been a nice toy towards the end of seasons, and a beautiful toy, and who actually have been destroyed at the beginning of the new seasons. That's why I felt like every time.
With Younes, you mentioned that he couldn't believe that it was going as well, but it was put across like he wanted the move. To your knowledge, would he have happily stayed at the club?
He just wanted to. He wanted the club to show him some, obviously, some respect and some willingness to keep him there.
Yeah.
And, he had his family reasons. He moved to London, closer to his family or whatever. But that day when he came down, I still remember he came down from the office and he said the club didn't do anything to keep me here. So they didn't fight enough for him to stay, despite he was having different reasons. You know what I mean?
And do you feel like there was a few players like that? I mean, for Younes was left to go without a fight. Jan and Villa was allegedly at the airport, and we never tried to sign him. Instead, signed somebody else for 13 million. You can go back to all the way back to Marcos Alonso, but there was also the situation with Lamine Kone, where I think he was offered a contract the year previous, and that was then revoked, and then the move to Everton came along, and it seemed that summer was just a total mess. Was that happening a lot with different players?
Unfortunately, it did happen to different players. And that summer, we were in pre-season. I still remember. We were in pre-season with Big Sam, and everybody knew that we turned the corner so much after another great escape. And with Big Sam, something clicked, like I said. But you needed to maintain the core. You needed to push on. And you needed to add good players to that core to push on. And that was the summer we kind of felt, okay, we had problems in the past, we made mistakes. We didn't turn the corner again. We had another relegation battle. Finally, we save our club yet again. And, we need to do it now. We got a manager. We need to invest in the players, in the manager. It was Big Sam at the time. And unfortunately, I don't think Big Sam have been helped with that, because Jan never materialized and other players never materialized, and then the England comes up and some decide to leave us in the middle of the preseason. So there was another time, another moment where we missed it. We kind of missed the train to build on something good.
How did the players react when Big Sam left? Because there's a train of thought that if England hadn't got knocked out from Iceland, maybe none of that would have happened. But there's another train of thought that Sam wasn't going to get backed in the transfer window, and they weren't going to bring Mbila in, and they weren't going to bring in the players that he wanted. Were you, or were the players expecting Sam to go anyway, or were you still surprised when he came in? I think it was in the pre-season game against Hartlepool, and said he was leaving to go to England.
No, it was a massive shock. I think that week, despite not playing one game in the new season, that was the week he got Sunderland relegated. So I'm sorry to say it, but it was a massive shock to the team. It was a massive shock to the staff, knowing after what we done and how hard we fought the year before and how we fought in the past 3, 4, 5 years. So when you get knocked down, we always got up and reacted, and we saved the club, and we kept that Premier League, Premier League identity. But this was the end of it. I mean, it was probably the knockout punch in the face, because Sam was our leader. He was somebody who came in, and as I said, he built a beautiful team, and we just needed to back him, and the club needed to back him, in the transfer window, maintain the core of the team, add a little bit more, and we wouldn't been fine. We're never gonna be relegated. I think instead we were gonna have one of the best seasons in the Prem if you kept that team. It didn't happen, so unfortunately it didn't happen, and unfortunately we went from one extreme to the other of feeling positive, feeling down again. And I think you fans and Sunderland fans saw that.
We felt it too, and I think that the problem that you have, and the one thing I really did want to ask was, Sam Allardyce, from his demeanour and what you see as a fan, is cheery, he's positive, he's confident, he's funny. And we brought in a guy, David Moyes, who just seemed like the opposite. And I think when you have a shock like that, David Moyes just seemed like the wrong person. What were your opinions on David Moyes and why it didn't work?
Again, to go down as much by losing Sam, we needed some sort of reaction, because it's been a massive hit in our face, and unfortunately we didn't get that with David Moyes, and the season complicated, and we never came back from that. The club wanted to stay with him, gave him all the time to work, and obviously to try to fix the problems. But unfortunately, the problem, as I said, it was in that week in pre-season. Didn't get the same players, didn't get the same team. The manager wasn't there. The manager was so successful in the previous 3, 4, 5 months. Wasn't there anymore for us, and it kind of we were kind of tired of reacting. If you understand, I think it's difficult to say, because as a player you always need to react, do well for yourself. But it's not easy if you think it's 1 year, 2 years, 3, 4, 5. Mistakes, changing manager, 6, 7 managers in 5 years. As a player, it's not easy. Trust me. You 3, 4, 5 relegation battles. Finally, you think you turn a corner. All of a sudden, you didn't, and you're fighting again. So it kind of ties you up. I thought that was the problem. So it was difficult. It was difficult. It was difficult for David Moyes himself to find a solution for it, and unfortunately he came like nothing happened. But unfortunately, the core of the team, and somebody like myself, I'm talking about myself too, it was difficult. It was difficult to fight against your own problems of changing manager, changing director of sports, changing the boards, changing, molding into a new system, molding into new players, again changing the core of the team, adding 7, 8, 9 players who the manager wanted, and again you have to mold as a team. You have to And I think the Premier League don't leave you space for that. So you can get safe 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4, but it's gonna catch up on you, and that what happened. Unfortunately, that what happens, you know.
And then it comes to the end of the season, and I was actually at your last game. If I remember correctly, it was a St. Johnson, I think, in pre-season 4 games. Yeah. A straightforward question: did you want to leave, or did you feel forced out by Martin Bain?
No, it's again, I was coming from 4 or 5 years of difficulties, and you know, me wanted to stay at the club, and me wanted to fight at the club, and be successful. But that same here, I've been told by the chairman that we were not going to fight for promotion. We were not going to fight, you know, we were going to get safe. Financial problems came along. We started to talk about players leaving, who was leaving, who was not. And I'm humble, I'm a hard worker, and I want to win. That's where I am. I think every Sunderland fan knows this. And
yeah.
You know, for me to head into it here, and as Sunderland, massive club, going into the Championship, and thinking when I was not going to fight for being in the playoffs or getting back to where the club belongs, I thought, why should I stay here? You know, this is not me. And then obviously they started to talk about the financial problems, and but it was better for me to leave. Martin explained the situation, and again, like Younes, like Marcos, like Jan, I didn't see the fight, you know, the fight that I wanted to see. The club didn't fight to keep me, so I kind of felt it was the moment to move on.
So just to sum up, final question, and I always like to end on a positive where I can, and there's a lot of positive. What does Sunderland and your time at Sunderland mean to you?
Everything. I think Sunderland is the moment where I realized who I really was, and it was the moment where I could show my talent at the best in the best league in the world, which is the Premier League. And despite having you know, a good first few years in England in my career, and such a big club like Arsenal, where it was a learning curve for me as a youngster, and where you know, I was happy to make my debut in the Premier League, and I was happy to make my debut with such a big club in the Champions League, and you know, but I never put my stamp in the Premier League like I did in Sunderland. So that's why what I bring with me, I mean, it's some special moments, as I said in this interview, and a bond with the fans who I will never forget. And I kind of made my history there, and I think it's part of my career. And as I said before, it will always stay with me and with my family, with my heart, because it's at the end of the day, despite the problems, despite the survival battles, despite the lows, it's so many highs and so many good memories which I bring with me, and that's all what is it. Sunderland Football Club for me is good memories. That's it.
Good answer. Well, Vito, thank you so much for doing it. Really good chat. Really nice to hear what the club meant to you. So many good memories. Yes, difficult moments as well, but fantastic to catch up. The fans are going to love to hear from you. And I hope you're going to come back very soon for a match. You'll always have a seat, I imagine, with the fans if you ever want to come back.
Yeah, it would be fantastic. I mean, I only want to say thanks to the fans and thanks to the club for the special years that I had there, and always I keep them in my heart, and I just hope that they're gonna be back where the club belongs, and you know, I'm rooting for them to come back to the special Sunderland.
It'll never be simple with Sunderland, as you know. But like I say, Vito, thank you very much. It's very, very appreciated. Thanks for Wembley, by the way. That was the best night of my life for that.
Yeah, no problem. I hope somebody's not gonna kill me after this interview. All the people.
No.
Some exchange betting companies run short-lived promotions, like months-long offers of low commission. At BetDAG, we wanted to change the way we did things, so we set our commission at 2% permanently. That's 2% on football, horse racing, golf, almost any sport. 2%. That's just one way that BetDAG is changing for the better. For the better, like you. BetDAG, the 2% commission exchange.
Over 18s only, please gamble responsibly.